doing the activity. I'm trying to get some exercise in my truck while I'm getting loaded, so I'm doing some wall sits with resistance bands. And the reason I'm doing this in my truck is because it's disgusting outside here in Missouri. It is really humid, it is really gross, it's in the 70s. It is not to my liking, and I don't want to be drenched in sweat, especially because now I have to pay for showers for the first time in a long time, and I don't want to be burning money, so I'd rather try to minimize being sweaty. So wall sits with bands with my AC. Woo, that's enough. With the AC blowing at me, and that's another thing. I need to get my I need a couple things with my truck. I still need to address the power steering thing, and I need to, I was a little close, buddy. I need to get the Freon re-upped because I can tell that my AC isn't 100%. I'm glad I know that, and it's because when I was at Schneider on the Walmart account, I had a whole night where it was so hot. It was so gnarly, and it was a day, it was like this, but at night, and I had the hardest time sleeping because it was like, oh, it feels good. Foot stretch. You can't see it, but I'm like sitting with my toes curled under, and it feels such a good stretch. Gotta take every stretch break you can get, every minute to stretch. But yeah, I was like questioning it because I have this resistance to asking for maintenance if it's anything that isn't like an emergency, and I'm trying to not be resistant like that because this is where I live, and like I just feel like it's fair to have a certain expectation of basic comfort. You know, you need your AC to be working when you're in hot, humid conditions. It's totally fair to want that. So I have to go to maintenance and be like, hey, give me some Freon, baby. Hit me with the Freon. Let's use the blue band again, man. For some strange reason, sitting on my ass for 12 hours a day has made my glutes weak. Go figure. And this is why we're doing this, because I've been... Oh, that's better. It's like a good amount of challenge. If you want to do something like this, just basic notes of, sorry, I'm kind of cut off, but I'm having a hard time getting the, let me try to move this back a little bit and see if that helps. We can see a little bit better. I'm in doing this, I'm keeping my tailbone tucked under, and I'm trying to like engage through my core and keep my posture tall. That's the beauty of doing something like a wall sit. And then I'm just driving, sorry, you can't really totally see because this thing is in the way, but I'm driving outward against the band from the hips. I'm trying to engage those glute muscles, and my legs are bent about 90 degrees. I'm also really thinking about how I engage through my whole foot, through both feet, through the toes. So people will say drive just through the heels. You can do that. Oof. Oh, that's enough. Mercy. You can do that, and that's going to tend to like, it's sort of going to like get more engagement at like the base of your glutes. But I think it's also good to like think about strengthening through your feet, because the way that your body moves, you use your feet, your whole foot, and it's good to think about whenever you're doing some type of a squat or a deadlift or any type of exercise, even something static like this. You want to think about, I always say use your feet like suction cups. Think about trying to keep the arches kind of lifted and grabbing the ground with your toes. Ooh, baby. Little things like this. I mean, it's getting me out of breath. I'm not sweating my ass off because I'm inside my cab with the AC, but just like this very cheap $7 band, maybe. This very inexpensive band, I have a little set of them. These are a great investment for someone in a truck for exercise, because you can do like little things, static things where you don't, because you have like so little space, and it's a good way to utilize that space and get some really critical things worked on in your bod. The one thing that I wish I had more room for was like planking, because you can do so many different things from a plank position. And one of my viewers in a recent video had a really cool thing where he mounted a pull-up bar across the two top cabinets, and I think that's brilliant. You could totally do something like that. And he has rings hanging from it, so he can do like, you can kneel and pull yourself up on rings like that. do some really great upper body exercises. There's always different things you can do if you get a little bit creative. And aside from it being hot outside, there's always elements. So like if it's raining, like yesterday I was in a truck stop where it was actually really cool. It was like an awesome thunderstorm. But there's snow. Sometimes you're parked in lots where it's just a mud pit, and you don't want to go outside necessarily and exercise in that. So you gotta just get creative. There's always different things you can do, little things you can do. Help yourself stay well. Hello from the microwave. It's the end of my night. I'm really tired, and I'm only gonna film for just a second here just to share this with you. I've talked about kombucha here and there, and like I swear someone said something in my comments about like me having like a niche with health and fitness, and it's a long story about why, which I'll tell you at another time. I'm gonna try not to go on tangents, but I don't really want that to be like my identity. But then it's hard for me not to kind of veer into that stuff because I just have a strong desire to help people. It's just the way I've always felt. And trucking is one of those things where I just see so many people around me that I can tell are really struggling, and I want to like give little tidbits of information where I can. Anyway, I'm annoying myself when I talk about this stuff, so I hope I'm not annoying you, my fair viewers. Anyway, I love kombucha, and I think more now since it's been a lot of years since not a lot of years, but it's been a number of years since I stopped drinking alcohol. But like in like muggy weather, end of day, when you want to relax, you want like a refreshing bubbly drink sometimes, like beer or something like that is like what a lot of people want. But some kombuchas like totally do the job for me of what the kind of refreshment that beer used to be for me if I was drinking beer or drinking wine or whatever. Kombucha does have a little bit of caffeine though, so I usually don't drink a whole one if I drink some at night. And then my habit lately has been, after like I've been doing this for a while actually my little reward after I complete a drop off before I leave is to like grab a kombucha out of my fridge usually, and or like, you know, there might be a Reese's peanut butter cup, a couple of other things, and then some healthy things to offset it so it's balanced, like there's some fruit, you know, whatever. This Health Aid kombucha is one of the brands I like because it's a little cheaper than some of the other ones. I've been drinking the GT's kombucha forever, and it's really good, but it's so expensive now. And don't ever buy it at a truck stop because they started selling this super tiny bottle size for the same price. It's like $4, but it looks like it's maybe 9 or 10 ounces or something, and the original bottle size is 16 ounces. I couldn't believe they did that. It seems so scammy. This is one of my favorite flavors. This is Pink Lady Apple. I think I have a watermelon one in there. And then I threw the can away, but there's a brand called Hum with like 2 M's. I tried one of those today earlier. It was so good. It seemed a little less sweet than some kombuchas. For those of you who haven't had it, kombucha is like a fermented tea drink, and they usually add a little bit of fruit juice to it. So it's like crisp and refreshing, and it has a little bit of a vinegary taste to it. So, and some of them are more vinegary than others. It's an acquired taste for some people because it's almost like a little bit of a funk, but it's really good for your stomach. So if you're somebody who has a hard time with digestion, it can really be helpful to you. So that, I don't know, I just wanted to share that. It's something you might consider if you're trying not to drink alcohol, if you're trying to drink less. I will say, incidentally, this does have a super small amount of alcohol. It's like it's not enough to like cause any kind of, you know, you can't feel it. It's not like that, but it's something like 0.02%, you know, because it is fermented, so it can impart a teeny bit of alcohol, but it's not enough to like give you a buzz or anything like that. If you're someone though who is abstaining from alcohol and it's a new thing for you, you might think twice about using something like this because it might not be great for you if you feel like you're uncertain in your recovery, in the stage of recovery that you might be in. But otherwise, enjoy. Good evening from my end of day chill space. I'm very tired. I drove 676 miles today, so it's a good solid day, but it got kind of thrown off in the middle because I'm having this whole like change of schedule in a sense, trying to figure this out. So I had a bit of a rude awakening because when the month turned over, I didn't even finish what I was saying here. When the month turned over, I lost all of my showers. I had, at Love's, I had 41 showers or 40 something showers, and I lost all of them. It went down to 0 overnight because the company I'm at now is a much smaller company that does not have that arrangement with those big truck stop chains. I realized that the reason that I had so many showers at Pilot and Love's, Pilot and Flying J and Love's, was because of the company that I worked for before, and someone had mentioned something about this in training, something to that effect, that you'll never have to worry about running out of showers. When I first started working there, I had gone to the counter at Love's and I was like, hey, I work for so-and-so, and they said that we get free showers, and they're like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, the way it works is every time we would fuel at one of those places, it would give us exponentially more showers than the one shower point that you would normally get for fueling 50 gallons or 75 gallons. For those of you who don't know, if you're not a truck driver, we get points for fueling at different truck stops, and the large carriers have, some of them have deals with these corporate truck stop chains that make it so that, you know, they get us to fuel there, and in return we want to go there. We're incentivized to go there because we get showers. And if we don't have shower points in our app or on our card, which most people would want to use the app because it makes everything faster in theory, and that's what I'm about to talk about also. I've lost where I was in my sentence because my brain is fried. But basically, you have shower points, and if you don't have shower points, you have to pay out of pocket. And showers range from, the cheapest showers I've seen are $8 at like Quick Trips and Quick Stars. The difference though, kind of the trade-off at those places, is there's usually only like 3 showers, so those lots are a lot smaller, so it's just a smaller volume, and those are only in a couple of states. I'm not sure which all those states are, but I want to say Minnesota and primarily Wisconsin. So those $8 showers, I don't mind spending $8 on a shower. I wouldn't want to do it necessarily every day, but if I do it a couple times a week, it doesn't feel so bad. But $15 is a lot. TAs and Petros charge $17. I've seen as high as $18 for one shower, which to me is just highway robbery. And if you work for a company like the last one I was at, they had forced fuel routing, so we had to go where they sent us. So that could be really inconvenient because it's like, well, my clock is going to run out and I'm right by this Petro and I would like to take a shower there, but I can't because I don't have any shower points. So I'm going to have to pay $18 to take a shower because I can't fuel here and get the point that way. So it's this whole ridiculous thing that you have to go through just to like stay clean on the road. And I know that a lot of people have the impression that truck drivers are all slobs, and there are plenty of truck drivers who don't shower, unfortunately. But there are a lot of us who do really appreciate the feeling of a nice refreshing shower when we've been running our asses off all day, and this job is so draining. And for me, I have like a little bit of an obsessive relationship with showers and baths, and it's partly because of pain. So like, I'm in pain from driving all day, and I really like to shower at the end of the day, and I do hot and alternating with cold water because it helps to alleviate muscle tension. And it's one of the only times during the day, a lot of times, that I'm on my feet for any length of time, which I crave that time. So I could get out of my truck and walk around in the truck stop, and sometimes I don't feel comfortable doing that for different reasons, whether it's because it's dirty or because it doesn't feel safe, because if you feel like you're in a fishbowl because you see all these guys sitting in their cabs just watching everybody, and it's just a weird feeling when you're a woman alone, which is a totally understandable and rational situation. And that's another subject I'd like to talk about that's been on my mind. But today I had this whole thing where now normally I would take my shower in the morning and usually take one again at night, which I know might sound excessive to some people, but it's like the morning shower to wake up, the nighttime shower to decompress my body and feel better and rest better. As long as I could get one shower a day though, I feel like, okay, I'm good, you know? Well, now that I don't have shower points, I have to like do what a lot of drivers do, probably the majority of drivers who don't work for those big companies, and you either have to just plan to pay out of your pocket, or you have to like strategize when you're going to get fuel and when you're going to shower and where you're going to shower based on where you're fueling and all this stuff. And it gets to be this really stupid calculus that's like an added stupid headache that you don't need when truck parking is already a hassle, and like the congestion at truck stops is such a hassle. And today I went to a Flying J, which I always know is going to be iffy, and I'm curious about what other people have to say. I've definitely heard a few complaints from people in trucking YouTube about Flying J and Pilot. The app is always down. I don't know if it's just a coincidence that it's the places that I go to, that I tend to go to often. Today I get to this Flying J. It's crowded, and it's like 11:30 in the morning, and that's when I thought it would be a good time to go, but it was really crowded, and I can't remember the location. I can't tell you what it was. It was somewhere in Nebraska, that I remember. It was crowded, and then I open up the app and there's a line for the showers, and that's not that typical in the middle of the day. And I was like, man, there's 3 people ahead of me, and I'm like, well, I already stopped. I planned this stop. Let me just go for it. So I get in the line, and I figure usually when that happens, if it's just like 2 or 3 people in line, that could mean that they have 3 showers that they're currently cleaning, and all of a sudden all 3 showers open up or whatever, you know. I go inside after like clicking on my app to use my one shower point to go use the shower, and as soon as I walk inside, I open the app again, and it's totally fritzing. It's not working. And so I can't see like what place I am in line anymore. And then you normally would get a code and a shower number. So that's really important, because if you're waiting in line and there's other people waiting in line, you all need to know what shower number you're getting and what the code is to get in that shower. Well, I couldn't even see my place in line anymore. And it's like, I'm trying to be in and out in 30 minutes, and I already know I'm not gonna be because of the line that's there. I ended up getting in and out in an hour, but it was this whole thing where I had to go bug the employees and tell them like, hey, can you help me out here? And I explained the situation. And then of course the guy after me can't get in because his app's not working either. And it's like, they're writing down the number, what they think we are, our number in line, and like the shower number and the code and all this stuff. Here's the thing about all of this. I think the reason why this stuff happens is twofold. One is that Pilot hasn't properly invested in their app infrastructure, so their app doesn't work effectively for the volume of drivers that they have using their facilities. And we all know that there's this lack of truck parking and just a general lack of facilities that forces us all to like crowd into these spaces, which is totally ridiculous. And on so many levels, to me, it's like a labor issue. It's a sanitation issue. Like there's all these different things that happen that don't make sense, that I think wouldn't fly in other industries, but it's part of how truckers get thrown under the bus, and there's so many ways that happens. But the other issue is, this comes from me working for a long time in the service industry. Those employees, I can see how frazzled they are. I can see that they're stressed, that they're trying to keep up and they can't keep up. You can tell they're always short-staffed. And it's like, if these companies are paying their employees properly, and if they're staffing properly, which means they need to be paying properly in order to maintain enough staff and have people not call off, like people need to be actually incentivized to go to work, then they wouldn't have so many of the problems that they have. I'm convinced of that. And you see, if you know what it's like to be on the other side of that counter at any type of a retail space or a service space, you see right away on those employees that they're doing their best and they're stressed out because there's not enough of them. And guess what? If you're tasked with cleaning up showers after truck drivers, in my opinion, the bare minimum you should be making is like $20 an hour with benefits, because that's a dirty job. It's a hard job. Anybody who's ever cleaned hotel rooms, anybody who's ever worked in any kind of service environment, you know that those kinds of situations are unpleasant and they usually don't pay enough. And if those companies were paying their employees properly and paying enough to keep people showing up to work, then the whole situation would be better for drivers. And because we're on these super tight schedules, you guys are screwing us over. Pilot, Flying J executives who make the policies, not the people who work there. Those people are doing their best and they deserve better working conditions, and the drivers deserve better facilities. So These companies are definitely making their money because they sell fuel. You know, they sell diesel fuel. They're making money. They need to do better. They need to have better infrastructure with their app. They need to build more truck stops. And they need to do something at the corporate level, because I believe they're franchises. They need to do something at the corporate level to ensure some basic standard of cleanliness and quality at those franchises, because truck drivers deserve that much. We keep this company, we keep this country moving. And that's a rant. So there you go. Pilot Flying J. Do better. Any other truck stops that are falling short, and there's plenty of them out there. There's plenty of... I've been to more Loves that I thought were decent, but there's plenty of those that are not great. It's a big issue, and it really affects our quality of life. And I wish that would change. So that's my rant for today. And on that note, I'm gonna get out of my cab and walk around this dirty parking lot. Actually, I'm at a Sap Brothers one I was at recently when I took that really clean shower, and I'm gonna pay to take a really nice clean shower tomorrow morning, and I'm sure it's gonna be worth it.